Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 720. 720. March the 13th, 2019, Wednesday. That's right, it's Wednesday. You know what happens on Wednesday? Have some pasta and take out the trash. Sometimes I have chicken and pasta. Sometimes it's just pasta. It used to be chicken. Anyway, I'll still be taking out the trash. Now, let's get to the news of the day. Well, as many of you have heard, Representative Doug Collins has released his second transcripts from testimonies of the 80 some odd people who were called in to testify about the DOJ and FBI activities during the 2016 election. And, of course, last time it was the Bruce Orr testimony, which has borne some very good fruit, which we're all still chewing on now. But yesterday, he released the Lisa Page testimony. Now, this is like 370 pages, so it's going to take me some time to go through that, but I'll get through it. But it'll take me a couple of days to read through it all. But anyway, so I don't have anything to comment on as far as from what I have read, but in the two main things that are being talked about today are things that we pretty much already heard about or knew about her testimony, but now it's actually in our own words, and we have it in writing. So the main thing that a lot of people are talking about, the first thing, is that Lisa Page was questioned about the fact that the Right Reverend Clinton had brought in Cheryl Mills and Heather Samuelson, both who would be fact witnesses in the investigation. Yet she was allowed to have both of them as two of her 5 lawyers. And of course, Lisa Page is telling, I think it's Ratcliffe. I think that exchange was with John Ratcliffe. And he's saying, you know, you're a lawyer and you have a lot of experience at the DOJ. Don't you think that that's a little bit unusual? Have you ever done anything like that before? And Lisa Page admits it. She says, oh no, I totally agree. It's very unusual. No, I've never done anything like that before. I mean, these two were fact witnesses. Of course you wouldn't do anything like that. And we objected to it. We objected at the FBI. But we were overruled by the DOJ. I don't think she gave a specific name. That's again why I have to go back and review the transcript. Because I'll be interested to see if in the transcript, because I'm sure Ratcliffe followed up with who in the DOJ. So it'll be very interesting to get back into this and take a look at that and see if she answers that question about who. But for the time being, the most important thing is that she says that the FBI did object to Cheryl Mills and Samuelson being in that interview. And that the DOJ basically said, well, I mean, we're going to allow it. And you got to remember, Lisa Page is McCabe's legal, he's McCabe's lawyer. Lisa Page is McCabe's lawyer. Comey has his own lawyer. And they're all basically fairly equal, not equal to the Attorney General Lynch, but pretty equal to Yates. McCabe was pretty equal to Yates, the deputy AG. So these were high-level people making these decisions. These weren't people below Yates, below General Counsel Baker, below Loretta Lynch, telling the FBI, number 2 man at counterintelligence, the deputy FBI director, telling them that they couldn't proceed by telling Clinton that she could not have Cheryl Mills and Heather Samuelson. So when they say the DOJ, when Lisa Page says the DOJ said no, we're going to allow it, even if she doesn't give us the names, and I'm not sure she doesn't, I haven't read into it yet, I'm going to, but even if she doesn't give the names, I don't necessarily have to have the names to know that we had to be talking about very high level. It couldn't have been like a mid-level person telling the deputy director of the FBI what was going to happen. It couldn't be, a low-level person or a mid-level person telling the number 2 man at counterintelligence or the deputy director's lawyer or the general counsel of the FBI. These are top-tier people. Certainly people below them weren't telling them no. Had to be Lynch or Yates or someone on their immediate staffs. That's why I'm interested to see if Lisa Page, I'm sure Ratcliffe asked, but I'm interested to get to that particular part of the interview to find out if Lisa Page identifies specifically by name the individuals at the DOJ who said, well, you know, you may not want Cheryl Mills and Heather Samuelson there with Hillary, but we're going to let her do it, even though they're fact witnesses and part of the investigation. And by the way, Cheryl Mills lied under oath. So anyway, good work by Doug Collins. There's a total of 81 people who were interviewed, and he says he's going to keep releasing this stuff. Maybe every couple of days he'll release. And maybe we'll get Peter's Been Stroking Us. Maybe we'll get Loretta Lynch. Maybe we'll get all these. And a lot of these people are going to be called back. A lot of these people are going to be getting criminal referrals. And as soon as the witch hunt by Uncle Bob the Executioner is over, I expect that they're going to start moving on this stuff. They better. Of course, we don't know if the witch hunt's going to end anytime soon. Well, we're told that Uncle Bob's ready to turn in his report, but at the same time, we know that he's been budgeted all the way through September, October of 2019. So, again, people keep saying he's about to wrap it up. I'll believe it when I see it. Mr. Barr needs to put his foot up Mueller's ass and let him know that if he's got something, get it out. If not, shut it down. Time's up. Well, we have an article that popped up in the Huffington Post today by editor Vicky Ward, claiming that Trump told John Kelly to fire Jared and Ivanka. Well, I don't know where she got that information. Maybe John Kelly, I don't know. Remember, John Kelly said, he'd have been perfectly happy to work for the right Reverend Clinton had she been president and asked him to be chief of staff. And I'm pretty sure he was responsible for a lot of leaks. I'm pretty sure he was in cahoots with Paul Ryan. Pretty sure of a lot of things with John Kelly. And I wouldn't be surprised if he'd leaked some garbage like this. And I find it very difficult to believe. Very difficult. Nearly impossible to believe. If Trump did say something like that, he was only kidding. There's no way Trump seriously would fire Jared and Ivanka. They've not done anything to be fired. And he just wouldn't do that. He wouldn't fire them. You know, he might talk to him personally if he didn't like what was going on there and suggest that they resign or something. But he wouldn't have John Kelly fire his daughter and his son-in-law. That's stupid. So I would chalk this up as more fake news from the Huffington Post, just trying to churn up some more crap because they can't find anything else. This is all they know how to do. It's what they live for. It's all they live for. It's all they know how to do right now. They have Trump derangement syndrome. So every day they have to come up with something. If they can't come up with something, they make up something. So I would give this a credibility of 0. 0. Let's see. This is funny. Well, Ocasio-Marty Feldman-Eyes, the wild-eyed commie, just won Dumbass of the Week last week. Just announced it yesterday. But she's not waiting any time to get started, hoping that she can win again. That will be like, what, four wins? She'll be challenging Mad Maxine Waters. She wins one more time, she'll be challenging Mad Maxine Waters for the record of Dumbass of the Week wins. We might have to take her off the board and just name the award after her. So she's speaking yesterday in a House hearing, and the wild-eyed commie, Marty Feldman-Eyes Cortez, says that the Keystone XL pipeline is to blame for leaking 5,000 barrels of oil in South Dakota. So here's Ocasio-Cortez, the wild-eyed communist, blaming the Keystone XL pipeline for leaking 5,000 barrels of oil in South Dakota, despite the fact that the Keystone XL pipeline has not even been built yet. Man, they need to get her off the stage. So it's almost like I'm waiting for like that hook, where it's like the cane, where they, you know, from shows you've seen in the past in comedies, where someone's sitting there completely blowing themselves up, and you see like a cane come out, and it gets them by the neck, and they jerk them off exit stage left. They just get jerked right off the stage. That's what I'm waiting to happen to Cortez. I'm waiting for someone to literally come out there and physically remove her from her seat. Because the stuff that comes out of her head is just absolute insanity. And it's wrong. She gets everything wrong. It's like, and when you watch her, whenever she's doing an interview or whatever, whenever she gets off her talking point and starts expanding and just kind of going with the flow and just kind of going off the script, you realize very quickly that she hasn't got a clue about what she's talking about. She's clueless, man. She's dumber than a football bat. Yet, she'll get on a topic and then, like she's some sort of an expert, and proving all the while that she's dumber than dirt. And even when she gets like a fairly intelligent reporter or someone that will even question her or second guess her on something, then she gets rattled and starts laughing. Oh, well, I'm not really like, you know, like an expert. She's a mess, man. She's a mess, and she's a great gift to the Republican Party. They don't even deserve her. They really don't. They really don't deserve her, but she's a gift. If they had any skill at all, and they knew how to use this to their benefit, it would be wonderful. But the Republicans are almost as dumb as she is. They don't even know how to use this to their benefit. That's absolutely amazing. Blaming the Keystone XL pipeline for leaking 5,000 barrels of oil, and the damn pipeline hasn't even been built yet. My God. Hey, it looks like Cher wants all men to be circumcised, and they would have to show papers or show their penis. Huh. How about that? Too bad her father wasn't circumcised. We wouldn't have to put up with her. Well, it looks like, I guess many of you have heard about this big bribery, college admissions bribery scandal that broke out yesterday. They arrested a bunch of Hollywood left-wing liberals who lied and paid money to colleges, admissions to get their spoiled, rotten, rich kids into Ivy League schools. There's coaches caught up in this, administrators caught up in this. There are parents caught up in this, teachers. There's a lot of people. I think they arrested 50 people already. There's more coming, including a couple high-profile Hollywood-type people. And it appears that one of the people arrested in this college admissions bribery scam appears to be the tennis instructor for Sasha and Malia. Obama's little demons. That's right, Obama's little demons were getting lessons from this tennis instructor, and Sasha and Malia were getting tennis lessons from this guy, and he's one of the ones that's been arrested and charged for being part of this bribery scam. And there's some fairly high-level, big-name people on this list, and apparently there's more to come. And this apparently was a sting operation that they've been investigating for quite a while, and so it looks like a lot of rich people, Hollywood leftists, rich people paying colleges and running bribery schemes with their admissions office to get their kids into colleges. There's also coaches involved, cheating to get kids who are athletically inclined, good athletes, into the school when they didn't qualify. And there's a lot of things going on here with this particular crime, and I imagine we'll hear more about that. But it looks like Sasha and Malia are going to need a new tennis coach. Need a new tennis coach. Well, it looks like Madame Botox is probably losing her mind. Or she's gotten the message from the party heads at the DNC and the big money donors. And what they're saying is, hey, Nancy, it's time to move to the center. It's been fun. Oh, it's been a lot of fun working on the left. But now we have an election coming up in 2020, and it's time to move to the center, or we're going to get smoked. So, go out there and move to the center. So what does she do? Well, yesterday, she comes out and says, well, impeachment's probably not a good idea. It'll tear the country apart. You have to have the support. You have to have some facts. You have to have some evidence of a crime or something. So I don't think impeachment is a very good idea. Going completely against the grain of the three main committee members in the House who are launching the investigations as part of her impeachment, Pelosi was a big part of laying the groundwork for this Congress to do this investigation that would lead to the reason for impeachment. She's been totally supportive of these whack job lefties. And then all of a sudden she comes out and flips the script and says, I don't think impeachment's a good idea. Then she comes out today and says that Medicare for all would be worse than the current system. And she asks, how would you pay for it? That sounds a lot like a bunch of conservatives, doesn't it? Yeah, because they realize that Medicare for all, if they get into a debate with anybody with a lick of sense, and they start talking about Medicare for all, they're going to get toasted. Absolutely toasted. And it's probably a dig at Bernie, too. Obviously, they see that Bernie is probably, if they don't find someone to stop him, he's going to win the nomination. Now, they're going to try to cheat him. They got all kinds of stuff. But the problem is, a lot of people who like Bernie, who would vote for Bernie, don't care. If you show Bernie fans pictures of Bernie marching down the street waving a communist flag and singing the Russian anthem, the Soviet Union's anthem, they would probably cheer for that. He might pick up more supporters as far to the left as the Democratic Party has gone now. Commies are popular in the Democratic Party now. The farther to the left you are, the more popular you are. But clearly Pelosi's getting the message. It's time to move to the center and give up this far left-wing stuff until we get elected again. So it's not going to work. Most of the presidential hopefuls have already lined up to get as close to Bernie's socialist positions as they can. And the National Democratic Party may try to flip the script, but this is not going to work because we're going to get 10 debates playing all out, and they're going to try to out-lefty each other. That's what they're going to do. Bernie's not going to move to the center. Kamala Harris is not going to move to the center. Pocahontas, Chief Spreading Bull, she's not going to move to the center. They can't. They're locked in. Any one of them begins to move even a little bit to the center, boom, their support collapses. The only hope they have of getting the support that they need is to see how far to the left they can go. They have to match Bernie. And he'll go as far to the left as he has to. So there you go. Now, this is not something particularly new for Nancy Pelosi, because I remember a TowerGate video we did a long time ago. It may have been 2016. It's been so long ago. Where she was giving a speech at some auditorium somewhere, and they were all, in the audience, people asking questions, peppering her on Medicare for all. And she was basically saying at the time, well, it's probably not feasible. And she got all kinds of heat. People started coming up onto the stage. They started talking real loud. They kept shouting at her, wouldn't let her answer, wouldn't let her talk. She finally had so many people around her, security had to get her out of the building, out the back door, fearing for her safety at that point. So Pelosi has been clear for quite some time that the Medicare for all thing is just, you can't sell it. I mean, because eventually you're going to have to explain what it's going to cost and how you're going to pay for it. And as soon as you do that, if you try to run on that as a national campaign issue, and especially after the failure of Obamacare, I mean, the Democrats are not sitting in a very good position to try to sell any type of a national health care system based on the experience that we've seen from them. So this is a obvious attempt by Pelosi. She's gotten the marching orders from the folks, the powers that be, to start moving to the center. And this is why when I said the other day why Joe Biden has not thrown his hat in the ring, it's not for all them other reasons that people are saying. It's because he's looking at the numbers. And right now, if he jumped in, They're showing his numbers. I saw some numbers yesterday that only puts him in the 20s, just a couple points above Bernie. If Biden jumps in it and he's only got 25%, 3 months from now he'll be down to 15. He'll be down to single digits. He'll be down to 1, 2, 3%. In 6 months from now, as soon as the first primary happens, the first debate happens, they're going to have 10 debates. As soon as the first debate happens, he'll drop down to 1%. Unless he completely flips the script and tries to do the Bernie routine. And I think he knows that. He doesn't want to be embarrassed. Doesn't want to be embarrassed. So we'll keep watching. I mean, we'll see what happens with Biden. But I can guarantee right now, Joe Biden, he can go ahead and throw his hat in the ring. He may enter the race tied with Bernie or maybe a couple points ahead. But as soon as he starts talking and people realize he's not for Medicare for all, he's not for impeaching Trump, he's not for all these other things that are far left, he's not for any of that, he's not for the wide open borders, sanctuary cities and all these things. As soon as that happens, he's done. He's done. And he knows it. That's the question that Biden has to probably sit and consider right now. Is he willing to go out and move to the hard left, or and maybe have a chance, maybe, or is he going to try to go out and be the centrist, knowing good and well he's going to get slammed by the left? And so I don't know what you do. If I'm Biden, I sit it out, man. I mean, he's got plenty of money. He can't better himself by doing this. The only thing he can do is embarrass himself, in my opinion. In my opinion, this race is going to come down to, unless the rotten Reverend Clinton throws her hat in the ring, and I'm not so sure she beats Bernie in a fair head-to-head match, in a fair match. Hell, he might have beat her in 2016. I don't think so, because he does really, really poorly in the South. And if you look at the primaries, look at the states that Hillary won in the South against Bernie, and look at the winning percentage. I mean, look how bad she beat him. She beat him in all them southern states, just beat him to death, like 3-4 to 1. I mean, he didn't get here like 20-25% tops in any of the southern states. So Bernie does not play well in the South. He doesn't do well with minorities. So Bernie's crowd is mostly young white people. That's his crowd, college-age white kids, mostly privileged white kids who come from wealthy families and stuff. So that's typically who Bernie appeals to. So, I'm not really sure how you play it at this point, but my advice to Biden is just sit it out, man. Sit it out. You can't help yourself. You're not going to win the nomination. And if the rotten Reverend Clinton does not throw her hat in the ring, and I believe she will, and I won't believe she is not going to throw her hat in the ring until the final deadline day comes to file. And if her name's not there, then I'll say, okay, well, the deadlines come and go. I don't see how she could get in there. They might come up with some trick at the end of the show to bring her in, but at this point, I would say that if you take Hillary out of the picture, and you look at the candidates that are there right now, and assuming that this Mr. Schultz doesn't run as a third party, if none of those things occur, and it's just the field that we have now, you're probably looking at Bernie, and the only person who could challenge him really right now is Kamala Harris, because she's female and black, and as liberal as he is, much younger. So I think you're looking, and I think that'd probably be the ticket. You'd probably be looking at a Bernie on top with Kamala as VP, or Kamala on top with Bernie as VP. I think that's you're looking at the Democratic, ticket for. If the rotten Reverend Clinton doesn't jump in, I think that you're looking at the ticket right now, unless someone else jumps in. I think that's what you're looking at. Well, it looks like Theresa May's Brexit deal has been voted down for a second time in 3 months. It didn't lose as bad this time as it did last time, I don't think, but it still was a big loser. It looks like that the nays were 391, the yays were 242, and that means that Brexit is now about 3 weeks away. The deadline is 3 weeks away. What are they going to do? Now, I know my man Mike G, and a couple other of my subscribers over in the UK right now are probably happy, very, very happy, and you should be. Congratulations. because I didn't know what kind of trickery would go on here. I thought there was some deals being cut, that maybe that this she would find a way to get this done. But no, you're seeing it happened. Her Brexit deal was voted down again. And I don't know what she can do in the next 3 weeks, but I'm sure they'll pull something out of their ass because they do not want Brexit. Something tells me they're going to delay it. I have a rough time believing they're going to allow hard Brexit to happen. That's what should happen. That's what I want to happen. It's not the best case scenario, but it's the best case. It's not what should have happened. They should have had an actual Brexit. But if this is the way it has to be done, could be some issues, but it's still better than the alternative. But I just have a rough time believing they're actually going to allow Brexit to happen. They never intended. The day that the vote was had and they realized they lost the vote is the day they all got together and said, okay, well, we lost the vote. Now what are we going to do to fix it? Because we're not going to get out of the EU. So we'll keep watching. Thanks again, Mike, for keeping us updated in the comments section. A lot of people watching the Brexit situation very closely. Well, you know, it's an issue that's important to a lot of us here in the States. You voted for Brexit, you deserve it. The EU sucks. Get out. Get out now, any way you have to, even if it's ugly. That's my recommendation. Well, it's just kind of funny. Yesterday, I titled my video, Glenn Simpson was the author of the Steele Dossier. And the point I was making is that yesterday, when I went to my timeline to update my timeline, I've been talking about this now for months and months and months, and I finally have reached the point where I have seen enough. There's still a lot more evidence out there. There's a lot of things I do not know, but based on covering this story now for over 2 years, I've finally come to the conclusion of something that I've been believing for a long time, and I finally reached that point where I said, you know what, I'm absolutely certain that this is exactly what's going on. And so for the first time, I normally don't do this, I went to my timeline and I actually entered into my timeline that I officially come out today and state that I believe that Glenn Simpson was the author of the Steele Dossier, the primary author. So I wanted to go on the record on my own timeline with the date right there, because I know that there'll be more and more people eventually as this comes out. They're going to say, oh yeah, well, Glenn Simpson was always the author of the dossier, and we all knew it. Christopher Steele really didn't write it, and blah, 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 blah. Well, I've been saying it for a very long time, so I wanted to get it on the record so that I could actually tell people, hey, go look at my blog, and you will see that I said that on such and such a day. And keep in mind, I've been saying this for months, and I believed it for longer than that. But I wanted to go on the record on my own timeline, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. I'm pretty sure when we get to the bottom of it, we are going to find that Glenn Simpson and his wife, Mary Jacoby, are the primary authors of the dossier, period. So I went out and I put it on my timeline yesterday. It's right there. I wanted to go on the record. Well, how many of you heard Devin Nunes on the Sean Hannity program today or yesterday? Nunes must have watched my video. That's all I can say. I've suspected he's watched my videos before. But anyway, he's talking with Hannity, and he basically says, you know, Sean, he said, when you look at all the facts and all the information that we've been seeing, it appears to me that Steele really wasn't the author of the dossier. Looks to me like it was Glenn Simpson. For all the reasons that I said, him and his wife were writing this narrative about Paul Manafort going back 10 years ago when they were writers for the Wall Street Journal. It's the same story. It's the same story with a few more characters added in and a few more wrinkles and a few more twists and then some sex. They get some sex in there. You know, it's crazy. It's like a movie script. Nunes explains it exactly the way I did on my video, a day after me. See, that's the point. Devin Nunes went on Sean Hannity the day after my video. And that's why I say, I wonder if he watched my video. But I came out big and bold on my timeline yesterday and said it on my video that I believe all the evidence shows me Glenn Simpson was the author of the dossier. Absolutely. And I presented the evidence for that. And now we get Devin Nunes. The very next day goes on Sean Hannity and says, you know, based on everything I've seen, I think Glenn Simpson was actually the guy who wrote the dossier, and Steele was just like, he couldn't really find the word to describe Steele. He's like, Steele was just the guy to kind of pump it through the State Department. Yeah, he was the guy to pump it through the State Department, the FBI, and the media and other things. But most importantly about Steele was because he was the guy who had the credentials former British MI6 agent, former head of the Russia desk in Moscow. This highly respected individual worked with the FBI on the FIFA investigation, worked with the FBI on other investigations. He's got all this credibility. Plus, he's a third party. I mean, Confusion GPS couldn't walk in, working for the Rotten Reverend Clinton campaign, couldn't be walking in giving the stuff to the FBI and the State Department directly. Although they were, in a sense, because we know that Glenn Simpson gave Bruce Orr the dossier on a memory stick, along with his wife. But Glenn Simpson is primarily the author of the dossier, no doubt in my mind, and now even Nunes is saying it. One day after me. So, as I was talking about earlier, there were two things really about the Lisa Page testimony. I'm sure there's a lot more. No one's had time to read it. It's, like I said, it's a lot of pages, and it's going to take about a week to pour through it all. And there'll be bits and pieces probably in the next TowerGate videos as I get through it. Anything I learn on that particular day, I'll include it in my video to finally get through it all. But there was two things. Of course, we talked about the first thing early in the video about the fact that something we already knew was that what we'd heard about, but it's not actually been confirmed. Now it is confirmed in Lisa Page's own words that FBI did not want Heather Samuelson and Cheryl Mills to be able to be there present in the Q&A with the Rotten Reverend Clinton. They got overruled by the DOJ. But the other thing is that Lisa Page says that the FBI considered charging the Rotten Reverend Clinton with gross negligence under 18 U.S. Code 793 for mishandling classified information. But according to Lisa Page, she says that the DOJ said, no, you are not going to do that. We will not charge Hillary. So this is what Lisa Page is, and I think it's Ratcliffe that's doing the Q&A with her, and he's talking to Lisa Page, and he's talking about this, and Lisa Page basically says, no, we were going to charge her. We were going to recommend charges under 18 U.S. Code 793 for mishandling classified information, and we were told by the DOJ, no. Now, that had to be Loretta Lynch making that call. That couldn't be someone lower than her. That went all the way to the top. That had to be Loretta Lynch making the call, no, you are not going to charge the Rotten Reverend Clinton for mishandling classified information. We are not going to do it. You are not going to refer, you are not going to make the referral, and we're not going to do it. So there you go. Now, the interesting thing about this is that Loretta Lynch, when questioned about this under oath in front of Congress, said that she, after recusing herself in a sense because of the tarmac meeting, she said that she would accept the FBI's recommendations. Accept the FBI recommendation. But Lisa Page is telling a totally different story. She's saying that the FBI recommendation was that they charged the Rotten Reverend under 18 U.S. Code 793, and that the Department of Justice, and you'd be talking about Loretta Lynch, said no. That doesn't sound like accepting the FBI's recommendations to me. Does it sound like that to you? So, they need to call Loretta Lynch back in. She was under oath. They need to call Lisa Page back in and find out who is lying and charge them. And that's just the beginning. Loretta Lynch, Get Back Loretta, has a lot of problems and a lot of questions to answer. The last time they had her in there, she answered, I can't remember or I don't recall, over 118 times. Finally, it's early for Dumbass of the Week, but here's a candidate for you. Georgia lawmaker Darshan Kendrick has proposed a bill to regulate men's balls in response to the heartbeat abortion bill. She wants men to obtain permission from their sex partner before they can get Viagra or an erectile dysfunction medication. She wants to ban vasectomies. She wants to make it an aggravated assault crime for men to have sex without a condom. She wants men to pay child support when a woman is 6 weeks pregnant. And she wants a 24-hour waiting period for men to purchase sex toys. She is certainly a candidate for Dumbass of the Week next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow with more TowerGate. See you. Bye.